In this story, we learn that due to the spread of a poisonous virus, all humans around the world have been transformed into zombies. But these aren't ordinary zombies. They're so fast they can catch a running airplane. Some are so clever they can even think beyond humans. Other zombies can locate their targets from kilometers away with their sense of smell. But in this world surrounded by danger, only two people are left alive. Will these two survive? We'll find out in today's video. The story begins with a boy sitting in his room watching cartoons on TV, when suddenly the TV signal goes out and an emergency report appears on the screen. This news takes away the boy's smile. The TV announces that a highly toxic virus has spread worldwide, turning infected people into terrifying zombies within minutes. This virus spreads rapidly, and the entire world has been engulfed by it. The TV announces that anyone listening to the news should quickly find a safe place. While the boy is watching, a strange sound suddenly comes from an upstairs room. The boy's breath catches in his throat. He slowly goes upstairs and discovers it was a prank by his older sister. The two boys then go to their mother's room and find her deeply distressed. She calls her husband and informs him of the situation. Her husband, a pilot, tells his children and wife that the virus is spreading rapidly everywhere. "So don't wait for me at home and somehow get out of this city," he tells them. "Don't worry. Nothing will happen to you. Your mother will take you to a safe place." He shows them the lucky bracelet he wears, which his daughter Abigail made. Seeing this, Abigail becomes overjoyed. Meanwhile, their mother is hurriedly gathering her belongings when she hears screams outside. She quickly takes her two children and runs out of the house. Just as they are about to get into the car, a zombie suddenly attacks their mother. Terrified, Abigail quickly hides under the car and watches her younger brother and mother die before her eyes at the hands of the zombie. The zombie, unable to see the little girl, leaves. The little girl, trembling with fear, realizes that her mother has also become a zombie. The girl's mother, seeing her daughter, moves toward her. And before she can kill her daughter, an uncle appears like an angel and kills Abigail's mother, saving Abigail. A short while later, they see Abigail's younger brother also transforming into a zombie. So the man tells the girl to cover her ears and also shoots her younger brother, who has become a zombie. Then a scene is shown 10 years later where we see that human civilization has been completely destroyed by the zombie virus. The once bright cities are now deserted, and all the humans are either dead or wandering around as zombies, and only two people remain alive. Abigail, the little girl whom Uncle saved, has now grown up. From that day until now, Abigail has grown up under Uncle Jack's watch, and Jack has trained her and taught her how to fight zombies. If Jack hadn't come into her life that day, Abigail would have died by now. Therefore, Abigail considers Jack her father. After living alone in the jungle for so many years, Abigail feels very lonely. Her greatest desire is to find a human settlement where she can live with people. But Jack hates living among people at all. At night, while they were camped out in the woods and sleeping, Jack was awakened by a noise. He slowly stepped out of his camp and saw a zombie attack Jack. However, Jack shot him repeatedly and killed him, and Angel arrived. Having spent the past 10 years hunting zombies in the woods, they had gained enough experience to zombies tend to live together in groups. They understood that there must be more zombies nearby, so they quickly prepared to leave and set off on horseback. Just then, their horse neighed and Jack realized that danger was near. They looked around and saw a jeep crushed by zombies in the distance. A normal human was defending himself from the zombies. There were very few humans left in the world. Therefore, they had to save the man from the zombies at all costs. Jack also wanted to test Angel's marksmanship. Therefore, he tells Abigail to save this man to see if he is fully trained. Jack tells her to aim carefully and then shoot him. But Abigail fires in haste, hitting both the zombie and the survivor. Seeing this, Jack becomes very angry with Abigail, after which they both go to the human. They see that this man cannot survive now. So Jack kills him himself so that he can be saved. If he's bitten by a zombie, he might come back to life and become a threat. After that, they both start collecting essential items from the dead man's car. Jack takes the dead man's shoes, and as he puts them on, the dead man's companions arrive, and several armed men surround them. When one man sees the dead man's shoes on Jack's feet, he suspects they killed his companion to steal the goods. Just as they start attacking the two, a pregnant woman gets out of the car and tells her companions to let them go. Just then, Kala Goda warns them again, and the next moment, loud noises start coming from the distant forest. numerous zombies start approaching them from all directions, coming at such a fast pace that they don't have a chance to escape. So they draw their weapons and fight right there. Everyone here had weapons, but the zombies were overwhelmingly numerous. So they bite many members of the group one by one. The survivors have nowhere to hide, and soon only a few remain. A strong man unfortunately falls victim to a zombie bite. He tries to shoot himself, but his gun runs out of bullets. Now they know they can't fight them off. So Abigail takes the pregnant woman into the car. Her husband is also in the car, and Jack starts the car and quickly leaves. Only 4 members of the group are left. Everyone else has been killed by the zombies. A black-faced zombie becomes extremely angry after seeing his companions dead. Meanwhile, the 4 escape the zombies and travel in the car. On the way, Jack asks the woman sitting in the back seat, "Who are you? And what were you doing there?" He reveals that the survivors wanted to go to a place called Shiptown, where safe humans live. There are all the necessary facilities there, and we all wanted to go there and live a normal life. Hearing this, Abigail is overjoyed, because this is the place she's always wanted to go. Jack retorts, "There's no such colony here. I've been wandering around for the last 10 years. I haven't seen one." Suddenly, their car breaks down midway. Meanwhile, the pregnant woman's husband, David, comes out and tells them, "I'm a mechanic and I can fix it." But due to a lack of tools, the car can't be fixed. So they abandon the car and start walking. After traveling several kilometers, they reach a deserted community. Tall buildings still stand there, but a deathly silence pervades everywhere. They first thoroughly inspect the area. When they sense no danger, they decide to spend the night there. At night, they light a fire and cook food. Abigail was desperate to go to a place called Shiptown. She began talking to the pregnant woman about the place. The pregnant woman told her that they had already established radio contact with the people living there. It was a beautiful place where they could live freely. Hearing this, Abigail's eyes lit up. Meanwhile, Jack set up traps outside so that even if they fell asleep, they would immediately sense danger approaching. Jack came inside, took out a map, and explained that he would escort Megan and David a short distance, and then they would go their separate ways. But Abigail was unhappy with Jack's decision. She approached Jack and argued with him, saying that David wouldn't be able to safely transport his pregnant wife to the place. "So we should go with them," Jack said. "We should act wisely. Where there are more people, there is more danger." But Abigail, upset by Jack's decision, leaves. Unbeknownst to them, the black-faced zombie has sniffed their car and reached there. The next morning, Abigail is sitting on the rooftop, looking at her childhood photos, when suddenly she hears a rustling sound in the trees below. Realizing that zombies have entered, she runs down to warn everyone, but a zombie chases her. Abigail, in a desperate attempt to save herself, climbs up the stairs and knocks the pursuing zombie down. But in the process, she loses her balance, nearly falling. But Jack arrives just in time to save her. A short while later, the black-faced zombie arrives with his companions, having learned where their companion died. However, they are caught in a preset trap, killing many of the zombies. Jack hears the explosion and realizes that the zombie horde has reached the place where they stayed last night, and the zombies are still chasing them. But the good thing is that they've left that place and moved on. Then on the way, Abigail remembers that there's a small airport not far away where her father used to work. Perhaps there are some planes left there, so we can easily get to Shiptown. But Jack says that if we go to the airport, it's an open space, and if zombies surround us, we'll have no way to escape, and it's unlikely we'll even find an airplane there. But after Abigail's repeated insistence, he agrees to go. They arrive at the airport, but there's no airplane there. Jack says, "See, I told you there wouldn't be any." But when they reach a small garage, they open the door and, luckily, find a small airplane inside. They're overjoyed as their journey to Shiptown has become easier. But this airplane hasn't been used in a while. Mechanic David says it needs repairing. "Not much. I'll fix it in 10 to 15 minutes. While David fixes the airplane, Jack and Abigail search the airport for useful items. Just then, David sees through binoculars that a large number of zombies are approaching in the distance and will soon reach the airplane. They come running and warn them that they must quickly start the airplane or the zombies will arrive and kill them. Abigail quickly sits in the pilot's seat and reads the books available. Her father was a pilot, so she learned a little about controlling an airplane from him. Jack tries to stop the zombies by shooting them. Abigail somehow manages to start the airplane, but it's too late. A large number of zombies reach the runway. Their speed is so great that one of them even reaches the airplane door. But Jack shoots it and frees the airplane, and Abigail understands the plane's controls. Thus, the plane takes off. Everyone on the plane is overjoyed because they will soon reach the ship. But this happiness was short-lived. As they moved a little further, smoke suddenly began to pour from the plane's engine, as it hadn't flown in the air for the past 10 years. Consequently, the engine exploded, and the plane began to plummet. Jack acted wisely and crash-landed the plane into a tree, slightly injuring them but saving their lives. The plane was no longer usable, so they had to travel on foot again. After a considerable distance, they reached an abandoned railway station. Night fell, and they checked the surrounding area for danger. When they didn't see any zombies, they decided to spend the night there. They checked their location on the map, which revealed they were now only 2 days' journey from Shiptown. Here, the pregnant woman approached Jack and thanked him. She told him, "If it weren't for you, we would never have made it here." Hearing this, Jack begins to sympathize with Megan. He tells her his story. 10 years ago, when the zombie virus first broke out, he had to kill his wife because she was about to bite him. That's why the human inside him has died from that moment on. Now, the only person he has in this world is Abigail, whom he will keep alive at all costs. Jack also tells Megan that his intentions have changed. "I'll get you to Shiptown first." Hearing this, Megan is overjoyed. Meanwhile, we see Megan's husband, David, trying to kill himself by putting a gun to his head. He was bitten by a zombie on his leg, but David hasn't yet become a zombie because the wound is so small, which is why his transformation is so slow. Now he decides to take his wife Megan to Shiptown and distance himself from it. The next morning, the four of them continue their journey. Then, on the way, Jack begins to notice David's behavior strange. He realizes he's infected, so he grabs him and takes him to an empty space where his wife and Abigail are not visible. He lifts David's back and sees a zombie bite mark. Now, Jack is convinced that David is about to become a zombie. Jack asks him, "Would you rather die yourself or should I kill you?" David replies, "I won't harm anyone, and if that ever comes to that, I'll kill myself." So he leaves David. As they walk, night falls and they see a house ahead. Jack, gun drawn, begins to move forward. Suddenly, a bright light flashes, and a speaker tells them to put down their weapons or they'll be riddled with bullets. They now realize there's a human inside. Abigail steps forward and says, "Our intention in coming here is not to harm anyone. We just need help." Just then, the owner of the house comes out. He says, "You'll be given plenty of food and a place to spend the night, but on one condition, you'll have to leave your guns outside." When they leave their weapons outside, the man takes them inside. Welcoming everyone inside, he explains, "I'm a scientist. I live here alone. If I wanted, I could leave. It's easier for me to conduct research in such places." He provides them with delicious food, which surprises them as they haven't eaten such food in a long time. They pounce on the food. After the meal, the scientist brings them drinks. They're all very happy to finally have a chance to sit and talk comfortably after so long. But listening to the scientist, they feel something strange. The scientist says, "Look, this virus that has spread is a very bad thing. But on the other hand, it has also upgraded humans. The weak will be wiped out and the strong will survive as zombies." He says that zombies live only to eat, not to progress. Therefore, zombies should rule the world. Hearing this, all four of them feel very strange. Then David feels worse and goes to the bathroom. In the bathroom, he looks in the mirror and sees that the virus has spread throughout his body. When David returns to the hall, he finds Jack and the others unconscious. The scientist had mixed an anesthetic in their drink. Seeing this, David starts to attack the scientist, but the scientist presses a button on a device he's holding. David suddenly feels extremely weak and falls to the ground. The scientist says, "I've built this device after years of hard work, allowing me to travel to any corner of the world, and with its help, zombies can't harm me." The scientist had created a device that allowed him to control zombies. This means that he will now become the king of the entire world and make everyone dance to his tune. David then falls unconscious. When he regains consciousness, he finds that he and his companions have been tied up, and the scientist is about to conduct an experiment on them. After this, the scientist asks, "Would you like to meet my wife?" We then see the scientist's wife, a zombie, trapped in a cage by the scientist who used to capture and feed humans to her. The scientist also created this device after experimenting on his wife. When the scientist opens the cage door, his wife attacks him first, but the scientist controls her and sends her towards the four of them. She attacks Jack, but he kicks her back. But then David, using the virus's power, breaks the rope and frees his other companions. The owner of the house, sensing danger, immediately runs away. The four of them quickly grab their belongings and escape. Luckily, they find the scientist's car outside, and the four of them board it and head towards the forest. But the scientist is undeterred. He controls the zombie horde using his device to chase them. Jack increases the car's speed and leaves the zombies far behind. However, the road ahead is blocked. Now they have no choice but to continue on foot. After walking a little further, the zombies catch up to them again. David realizes he doesn't have much time. He'll soon become a zombie. So he tells them to move on, and he decides to stay behind to stop the zombies. But his wife refuses to let him go. David says, "You have to stay alive for our child, and I'm doing all this for our unborn child." David then fights the zombies and bravely confronts them. The zombies hold him off for a while, and his companions move far away from the zombies. But then a zombie comes and kills David. Jack, carrying Megan in his arms, moves forward and they finally reach a human settlement. Abigail screams for help as they are pursued by numerous zombies. Two guards on the tower above spot them and provide cover by shooting the zombies with snipers. Soon, a boat is sent for them, and the three board it and reach Shiptown. A black-faced zombie prevents his companions from proceeding further, as there is a waterway ahead and they cannot cross it. Meanwhile, Megan is about to deliver a baby and needs immediate treatment. Fortunately, there are doctors and hospital facilities available. The next morning, we see that the place has been connected by several large ships to form a town surrounded by water. Jack tells Abigail that they should leave now, but Abigail has decided to stay. She is enjoying being among the people. They have a heated argument over this. Just then, a doctor arrives and informs them that Megan has given birth to a daughter, but due to excessive bleeding, she may not live long. Hearing this, Jack becomes disheartened. He quickly goes to the hospital room. Megan is very weak and wants to hand over her daughter to Jack, hoping she grows up like Abigail. Jack is reminded of his dead wife and agrees to let Megan hold her daughter. Meanwhile, Abigail is enjoying herself with a handsome man. She never imagined so many people could sit together, drinking alcohol and dancing to beautiful music. They can dance and sing, so her resolve to stay becomes even stronger. A little while later, Abigail sees the handsome boy sneaking into a cabin. Seeing him, she goes in too. Once there, she sees the cabin filled with wires and bombs. A wireless switch hangs there. As she touches the switch, the boy comes running out and tells her that they have planted bombs beneath Shiptown. If the place is ever in danger, people will escape through that path and blow it up from the outside. But neither of them realizes that this day will come so soon. The scientist, enraged, also arrives there. He sees that these people have killed many zombies, the very people he wants to use to rule the world. He uses his control device to control the black-faced zombie king. With the scientist's help, the water beneath Shiptown can no longer protect them. Numerous zombies reach the ships from underwater and suddenly attack the people, killing many of them. This causes a commotion among the people. Meanwhile, Jack also becomes aware of the zombie attack. He becomes worried about Abigail and begins searching for her. He fights the zombies, eventually finding her. Meanwhile, Sun Scientist also reaches the ship and punches Abigail, knocking her down. Seeing this, Jack becomes enraged and runs towards the scientist, but a zombie intervenes and pushes him into the tank. The scientist also arrives and seeks revenge on Jack. He kicks Jack and knocks him down. But Jack knows that fighting the scientist is futile, so he attacks the scientist, smashing the device in his hand against the wall. Now the scientist no longer has the power to control the zombies. The old scientist quickly falls prey to the zombies. Fortunately, the camp already had an escape route. Many survivors reached the other side of the river through a tunnel. When they were about to detonate the bomb, the handsome boy didn't press the button because Abigail was still on the ship. Jack and Abigail began running outside, but the zombie king grabbed Abigail from behind. Jack swiftly hit the zombie on the head with a stick, knocking it back. Suddenly, Abigail accidentally noticed a bracelet tied to the zombie king's hand. It was the same bracelet she had made for her father as a child. She realized that this zombie was her father, but now he was no longer human, but a zombie. Jack grabbed him by the hand, forcibly pulling him away, and told him to run. Seeing them flee, the handsome boy immediately pressed the button on the wireless remote, and the entire ship town was reduced to ashes. However, the battle wasn't over. The camp leader arrives clutching his neck, having been bitten by a zombie during the fight. Before the virus could spread, the black-faced zombie attacked him. Surprisingly, the zombie king had also survived the blast. Jack immediately runs and fights the zombie king, but Jack is weakening in the face of the zombie king. So Abigail picks up a gun from the ground, and despite knowing that the zombie king standing before him is her father, he is killing Jack, the man who raised her. So, without thinking, Abigail shoots the black-faced zombie king, because if she hadn't shot him, the zombie king would have killed everyone there. Jack and Abigail then embrace, and now Jack, Abigail, and the survivors look out at a desolate lake in the distance and decide to establish a new human settlement there. The story ends with this. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and like the video.